The story of Walter, Charlotte, and Alexis is a beautiful tale of love and family. It begins with Walter, a greengrocer selling fruits and vegetables in California. With a kind heart and a willingness to help those in need, he was beloved by everyone who knew him. Among them was a young woman who bought apples from him every day to show her appreciation. Walter noticed the girl's daily visits to his shop and realized he was drawn to her and felt that she might feel the same way. In fact, from the very first moment he saw her, he had fallen in love. Though he wasn't typically shy, he never seemed to find the right words whenever she was around. As a result, they had never truly spoken. But one chilly, rainy evening changed that. That night, the mysterious girl came by for her usual purchase of apples. Just as she reached the front of his shop, she stumbled. Walter quickly rushed to her side and helped her up. "Hey, are you hurt? My name is Walter. Would you like to come sit with me in my shop?" he asked, smiling warmly. Once inside, he offered her something to clean up with. Grateful for his kindness, she introduced herself as Charlotte. They ended up spending hours talking. Throughout their conversation, the rain poured heavily, but they paid no attention, completely drawn to each other. At one point, they hugged and shared a kiss. At that moment, they both realized they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together. That same evening, they started a serious relationship. They were in love and eager to spend every moment together, so they began living under the same roof. Walter and Charlotte enjoyed their time together, and 5 months after they met, they tied the knot. A few months later, they discovered they were expecting a baby girl. The couple was thrilled and anxious at the same time. Walter could hardly wait to hold his little girl in his arms. He looked after his wife and did everything to ensure her well-being. Finally, the day arrived for Charlotte to give birth to their baby girl. Thankfully, she delivered the baby without complications. When Walter and Charlotte saw their daughter for the first time, they were overjoyed. Holding her in their arms filled them with immense happiness. The little girl was so beautiful, and with joy in their hearts, they named her Alexis. They took great care of her, ensuring she lacked nothing. Together, they lived happily, with little or no worries. However, a few years later, something they never expected happened. After a visit to the hospital, doctors diagnosed Walter with an incurable illness. He could no longer walk and had to remain bedridden for several months. Charlotte was devastated, but she told Walter they should keep the truth about his illness from their 4-year-old daughter. She told Alexis that her dad lost his hair because she shaved it off every day. Charlotte hoped that with time, her husband would get better and she wouldn't need to tell their daughter the truth. Unfortunately, as months passed, his health continued to deteriorate. At this point, they realized they can no longer hide the truth from Alexis. She already sensed something was wrong with her father. Even though Alexis was still very young, she was saddened to learn that her mother and relatives had hidden the truth about her dad. She understood that her father was very ill and that his health was in grave danger. Knowing this, she found it painful that they had lied to her, telling her everything would be fine. One bright morning suddenly turned dark when Walter passed out, struggling to breathe. It was at this point that they told her what was really happening. That evening, Walter himself explained his condition to his precious daughter. From the start, he hadn't wanted to hide the truth from her. He believed she deserved to know what was wrong with him, just like everyone else. Walter knew his daughter could understand his critical state, so he told her everything. When she heard the truth, she was heartbroken and couldn't hold back her tears. During his final days, she became his closest companion. She would pray for him, talk to him, and feed him. Sadly, she was the only one who treated him as if everything were normal. Walter's wife and relatives treated him with pity, which made him feel terrible. All he wanted was to be treated like he was still normal. He didn't want anyone to feel sad for him. Alexis was the only one who understood, so he wanted her by his side at all times. They spent time together, playing, talking, and watching television programs. For the dying man, these moments with his daughter were precious, helping him momentarily forget about his incurable illness. However, they both knew the chances of survival were very slim. The time to say their final goodbyes was drawing closer each day. It was inevitable, and on one cold evening, father and daughter knew that the heartbreaking moment was approaching. They shared a silent hug as tears streamed down their cheeks. They knew that even though they would no longer be together physically, their hearts and souls would remain united forever. The next morning, Walter called his wife over to say goodbye. He knew his time on earth was ending. Through tears, he told his wife, "Baby, I won't be around anymore. I want you to keep caring for our daughter after I'm gone, and I want you to know that I love you very much." Charlotte, also in tears, was shocked by her husband's words. She knew he was right, but couldn't accept his fate. It was hard for his family members to accept what was happening to him, but there was nothing they could do. A few days later, Walter passed away peacefully in front of his wife and daughter. Charlotte broke down in tears while little Alexis wept quietly. She felt a sense of peace, knowing that this day would come. It was a bittersweet moment. She missed him dearly, but his suffering had finally ended. Alexis would never forget him, as he would always remain in her heart. On the day of Walter's burial, his entire family was in tears. Alexis could still feel her father's presence, but the pain she saw in her mother's and relatives' eyes made her unhappy. She wanted to be physically close to her dad one last time. She asked her mom for permission to hug him in his casket. Her mother initially refused, but later allowed her to say goodbye. Alexis hugged her dad and felt his cold skin, yet she didn't cry. The next few words she spoke brought everyone around her to tears. "I will always love you, and I will remember you forever. Goodbye, Dad." As she kissed his forehead, an incredible miracle occurred. A faint smile appeared on his pale, bluish face. Charlotte and everyone present were stunned by what they had just witnessed. It was nothing short of a miracle. Walter left one final, unforgettable sign of how deeply he loved and cherished his daughter. This brought Alexis immense joy, and she carried that beautiful memory with her for the rest of her life. When she grew older, she proudly shared the story of that special day. Sadly, no one believed her when she said her father had smiled at her from his coffin. Alexis never forgot her father and kept his memory alive, cherishing the beautiful moments they had shared. He held a permanent place in her heart throughout her life. I'm really keen to know your thoughts on this story, so please don't hesitate to share your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Feel free to share this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I'm excited to connect with you in our future videos.